Welcome back to the Reality Guys. I'm your host, Billy Blinks, joined as always by my co-host, Brian.
What's going on, everybody?
We're back to talk Trust, a game of greed. This is on Netflix. This is the second week of the inaugural season. It includes episodes 5, 6, and 7. We are going to cover all three. I check the timestamps. If you are only watch one or two of the episodes or just want to see a review of the last episode, we'll have it in here for you. You can jump right to that part. All right, Brian, right off the top, though, we had a great amount of conversation last week about our episode where I had posed, is this the worst cast ever? Yeah, of course, it was a little clickbaity. I probably should, I might literally make the thumbnail this week. Most annoying cast ever. Yeah, is this the most annoying cast ever? It may be literally the most annoying cast ever. Even the good guys are annoying because they're just so good and boring and
Yeah,
like
they're dumb. Yeah, they're
dumb.
just yeah.
God, we have crazy people, we have pious people, we have suspicious people, we have people that just don't like anybody for any reason. Again, we still had poor people and we still had rich people for a little while on this show. Some will end up richer and some have left with what some of us would say, and I'd probably take that money and leave now too.
I mean, I think she might be the MVP of the season. That was
Who,
just
Jay?
when she's just like, "Peace, I'm out." Like I was
Well,
like, "Yeah."
because we'll get to Jay. The fact of the matter is she just knows she's blowing their entire alliance up too. Like,
I was, dude, I was all about it. Like
flips the
she was annoying me,
numbers,
but
ruins it for
you got to
everyone.
salute that move. That was I
No
didn't
goodbye.
expect it. Yeah,
Thank you. And we will get to Jay's decision when we get to her pretty quickly, actually. So,
yeah,
all right. Off the top of the episode, we were left with Julie, right? So Julie would have an offer. Julie has to spend all of her time explaining again that she doesn't like rich people. Poor people don't get opportunities. Again, rags to riches. We get the whole story. Bryce doesn't deserve it. Now listen, yeah, Bryce is annoying. Like, crap. Like Bryce is annoying. Like he was dumb. He was not a great game player. Just vote him out for saying he's not a great game player. But you don't need to justify it with the whole where's my social class thing. She
yeah,
gets 15,000 if the person she votes for goes home, aka she's gonna go for Bryce.
right. I just think Bryce, he just handled it. I think actually Lindsay gave him good advice. Like if you just say it this way, you can be saying the same thing, but it sounds better. And he just says stuff, and I just think I know a lot of people like him in the comments, stuff like that, and like I'm neutral on him, but I just think he just the way he spoke about what he wanted to do. It's gonna
Just
rub
do
people the wrong way.
less. Just do a
Yeah,
little less,
yeah,
man. These
man.
people are all there. They all this more money is important to them. Like
Who was the one? Was it Tolu who was like, "Yeah, do we really think that he worked hard at the company?" I was like, that was pretty funny. I laughed at that.
yeah, well, I mean, then he admits to Lindsay, oh, well, my mom is handing me this business,
Yeah,
but I do have
yeah,
people working on it. Just like, all right, well, dude, you didn't have any, you had a net, basically, is what they're saying. And that's what a guy like him doesn't understand. It's like,
yeah.
you can't fail if you have that,
Right.
you're not going to fail. So yeah, we move on. She lies to Brian about it. Obviously, Brian doesn't take it because he's Brian. Um, Brian, she doesn't want to tell anybody. Brian says, we gotta tell everybody. I think you got to tell. I mean, Brian, at this point, there really is no risk for him if he even wanted to hide it, frankly, because I think he's still pretty likable. But
Mhm.
um, I would have been very suspicious of her if I were him right away there. Um, Julie tells the house that she didn't take it, but this is where she gets a little nuts. She says that she didn't even look at it. That would have been red flags everywhere.
I thought you had to look at it. If you looked at it, it was done, and that's why like Brian was like, "My integrity is not for sale," and like you couldn't look at this. That I think this is one of the ones where it's like you open it, it's live.
Yeah, either way, but like
Yeah.
she says that she didn't even look at it, which is a lie.
Well, if she looked at it, she would have to take it.
I didn't know if I'm not sure on that because the next two were like
No,
that.
I'm very sure because I
Okay.
Brian made that thing. He's like, "My integrity
Yeah,
is
yeah, yeah.
not for sale," so I think that's why.
Oh, because he took the other offer
Yeah, he
later.
took
So
the other
that's
offer, and that was the same thing because he waited out, and I mean,
well, she's a liar.
yeah.
Point being, she lies about it. This gets about the 273 in the trust. It's a lot of money. It's a
I
lot of
lost track
money.
of the money at this point. I mean, I'm
They
glad
don't
you're
do a
keeping
great
track.
job of keeping us
No,
updated
yeah,
on it,
just throw
frankly.
up a number in the corner. Like they tell us like 2 hours till
Running
ceremony.
tally.
Like just put a number in the corner.
Bryce is obviously a target from the Julie, Tolu, and girl elimination. Nothing much more Bryce can do. We get to the voting ceremony, and Bryce was sent home. One of the
Yeah,
least surprising eliminations, probably the least surprising.
right.
One of the thing I thought that was most interesting at the end. You got to have our buddy going, there's cowards in this room because Bryce asked, Bryce, so who voted for me? Yeah, sure, bud.
Right.
Freaking nut. Um, let's see. Oh yeah, Brian saying he really liked Jay because he was a bird of a different feather. And she's like, "What do you mean by that, Jay?" Jay's
Yeah.
like, "What do you mean by?" But meanwhile, guys, he's not gay. He's not gay. Like that's what she thought he was saying. That like what she thought. But guess what?
That's yeah.
That's on you, her, because guess what? He's not even gay.
I didn't know
This
that.
show. The,
Yeah.
the wrong conclusions, the jump to
Yeah, it's
conclusions,
the
like I'm
jumping
watching Office
conclusions. It's
Space.
just like because you know what? As soon as he said it, you knew that something was going to be said. That's the thing about the show. So many things happen. You can almost predict like somebody's going to get mad about something. Is kind of where we're
They
at.
picked the most hot and bothered people ever. Nobody just lets anything slide. No one just gives anything a second to breathe. They are jamming down people's throats. And
Yeah.
guess what? I barely would probably talk on that show. Didn't even say anything.
No, there's no reason. This is that you got to observe. I think let the people like self destruct themselves.
Let's see. So that's stuff with Jay. Guys want Lindsay to get rid of Winnie. She feels like she's safer with the guys than the girls. That's the case for a little while, at least.
But that's the first
Um,
point that the guys actually like. We need to start playing the game, and I think that's kind of where the show kind of changed a little bit, and it got I think significantly a little better.
yeah, it really starts to get better right now because the women just really start to like turn on each other, frankly,
Yeah, and
and
the
sort
guys
of
are not like,
self-destruct.
oh, everything's kumbaya. They're like, okay, we might need to actually get rid of people and be smart about our like what we're doing here. And they finally kind of get their heads out of their ass and
Um,
play the game.
we do the blow out the candle challenge, and this is classic because what I do like about this show is that there are like the people who end up getting the key cards to go in the vault are never really like who you think it's going to be, right?
Hmm.
So everyone's thinking you're going to be eliminating people and the last person standing wins. Well, no, actually, as soon as they finished blowing out Winnie's candle, it was over and she got to go in because she was the person who was voted the least trustworthy, which I
Right.
thought was a nice quick twist.
And do you remember she like pulls her to the side to whisper to her? Like,
Yep, secret.
you think people who are like, I guess people are, do they have headphones in?
I don't think so. It makes me think of traders where they're trying to say the guy was breathing heavy
Yeah.
next to them so they could
Right. They're
tell what
like
was
squeezing your
happening.
arm. Yeah. I agree with you, Bill. I do like that. Like the who gets the card is kind of up in the air, and I think that's like it's at different points of the game, which I think is really cool. Like it's not like challenge is over. Like this is mid. Like some people hadn't even gone yet, and I think that's kind of cool.
This is where Winnie's offer comes into play. If you open it, you have to do it, which I like. I like they're like
Mhm.
survivor challenges.
Yep.
You get $20,000, but if no one's voted out, you're also eliminated. So she gets the 20K. Like that's cool. We start to see this happening with players on these offers. People are just actually getting money regardless,
Mhm.
which is great. I think it opens up your gameplay a little
Yeah.
bit too. If you already have some money in the bank. But if no one's voted out, either a tie or no one votes, she's gone. We get left on the thing here where Winnie obviously tells Tolu. They go to tell Julie just to get the girls all on the same page. And Julie will not commit to voting out one of the guys if it comes down to the guys versus her.
Yeah. I just don't think the way they delivered it to Julie was the best.
No,
I think that's the problem. Is they
they
came on very hard, and I think that kind of scared her. Like, not saying that Julie is a saint in this. Like, she's playing both sides. Like the hardest I might have ever seen.
I mean, she's just it comes down to like making someone feel like a team, but it's like the ultimatum way. But I think her point too is like, well, there's other people too. There's other couple of the other guys. Like, why is it got to be the guy that I
Right.
have a friendship with? The other two to me are like just whatever. Like, pick one of them, and they're like,
Right.
no, because he's a bad dude. And he don't even like you. Like,
Yeah.
see, that's
Right.
the stuff where it started to get into like what you would call like the mean girl way,
Yeah.
right? It's like
Yeah.
he don't even like you, so you just vote for how way I'm saying to go. At that moment, you're Julie. You're like, I am by far the last member of this alliance. I am the
Right.
expendable one. Like
Yeah.
I'm out of this thing. I don't disagree with her feelings in that way, and that's
No.
kind of
And
where
yeah.
episode 5 ends with Winnie and Tolu basically saying, actually, maybe Julie should be the target. That's what we get left off with.
Yeah. And yeah.
It's just this is where it starts to go downhill. So guys, we're into this is the episode 6 review. Tolu and Winnie versus Julie and the boys now. Also Jay for now. Tolu, Winnie, Jay versus Julie and the boys. Where does Lindsay stand at this moment? Everyone's not really sure. Julie brought into the girls' room. That's where I mentioned at the end of the episode 5 review the argument about he says Jake does not like you, babe. Uh, Big blow up. Winnie talks to Brian and he tells her it wasn't him as far as the blowout, the candle
It
thing,
wasn't
which is
me.
truth. So the whole thing about before when she had kind of went in for the conflict and said, yo guys, like I know this was the three of you. He said, no, it wasn't. Now she knows it was Lindsay. Now Lindsay gets exposed. Now look, we get a lot of Lindsay in episode 6 and 7, right, Bry? I
Mhm.
do think Lindsay is a little cracky, but at the same time, a lot of her grievances I think were very valid that happened to her over the next few episodes. Her spot gets blown up so many times. I'd want to lose my mind if I were her too.
Yeah, and I mean, she did get caught in that lie when they asked her, like, "You, oh, I didn't vote."
Yeah, well, everyone knows.
I must have, I just maybe must have been blanking out. I didn't know some people didn't vote. I missed that, so I was like, "Oh, like, how would they know?"
How would they know?
But, but yeah, she is cuckoo, but again, it's the delivery, I think, and like you said, like there's a tier system of like where these like it's Winnie and Tolu, and then it was Julie and Lindsay, or I guess Jay would probably be
Jay was like above Lindsay, I would
she was
say.
like a lieutenant.
Yeah, she was like a capo. She was gonna be okay. Um, Winnie, this is so we go into poker night. This is one of those kind of standard challenges. Hey, give the chip to who you think this person is. Like one of those, like
Yeah.
most likely to do this, most likely
Yep.
to win, my favorite person. The real notable thing out of here, one is again, um, our girl getting her spot blown up completely.
Yeah.
Lindsay, it's what's his name? The
Brian, it was Jake and Gasper.
Jake, yeah, Jake Gasper saying this was who do you trust the most in the house? She's not supposed to be in their alliance. It's not public, but they put her name down. Instantly, the girls know. Up, boom, she is on the other side. Really upset Winnie, really upset Tolu, and really upset Jay. Jay thought that the two of them were like actual buddies.
I think if Jake didn't do it, I think it would have maybe gone not as bad because I thought Gasper had really good reasoning when he like was asked questions, and I thought like he was like, yeah, we talk about each other's kids, like we bond over that, and I could see that, but like when Jake does it and doesn't pick Julia or Julie,
Yep.
I mean that's rap right there.
Yeah, I thought that because they had been on kind of polar opposite sides in at least
Right.
the early factions. It's like
Mhm.
what?
Yeah.
It felt for her. Then I think this is like her downfall is that she just can't let it go the rest of
Mhm.
this episode and next
Yeah.
episode. Um, Brian wins poker night. Not really a big surprise. Everyone likes him. However, we find out that the person that gets the least chips is going to the vault first. Uh, that means we have Jay, Mama Jay, going into the vault. A lot of jokes about not knowing where the vault is, what a vault was, blah, 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 blah. Jay has an offer $25,000, but she has to go home.
She
She
didn't
takes
even
that
finish.
money
She didn't even
so
finish reading
fast.
it. She's
Like,
like $25,000 if you go. She's like, that's what I'm saying. She's like, bye, see ya.
deuces.
Yeah.
My favorite moment probably of these episodes because just the crumbling it does to an alliance, and not saying I even care about the guys' alliance versus the girls' alliance, but just like watching us the lack of caring. She didn't give a crap. That was now she might have condemned all those women in her alliance to getting voted out, getting nothing. She's like, yeah, whatever, see ya. And the dudes who she doesn't like can end up with a bunch of money, and she still doesn't care. I'm going home.
I think it was the best moment of the show so far.
So
Honestly,
funny.
it's just like she knew that she wasn't going to win. I think that she actually weighed. She's like, all right, Lindsay. I found out a lot about things about Lindsay tonight. Like, where am I in my alliance? Like, she wasn't going to win. So I think it was probably the smartest move anybody has done on the show.
There's no way she was going to survive. No way.
Yeah,
All the
I
guys
think it
thought
was
she was
smart.
like a shit starter. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So
I think it
they're
was smart. I think I wrote down on my notes, bravo,
if
bravo.
she is watching or a family member, a grandson or something,
Yeah.
Tell her we
Salute.
thought she did the right thing.
Salute.
Salute. This is where Tolu goes and apologizes to Brian for being wrong. This is where Tolu starts. This is like a politician who's now going for like a public PR campaign, like to clean up her image, and she's going to start with Brian and try to see if she can be like the lesser of two evils, basically, right? She knows that regardless as their numbers start to go down, she is going to need to have something to show that she's not completely like delirious and can't say I'm sorry and can't maybe try to pull the kumbaya that some of them want to hear and just end the show and not have to vote anymore. I think she starts doing a good job of that over these last episode and a half.
Yeah, is this pre or post Winnie going home?
This is right before Winnie going home.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So at the table talk, Winnie calls out Lindsay, just like Tolu will continue to do. You're a game player, you're playing both sides. In the end, will that matter? That's where we're left with the end of episode 6.
They say
Uh,
they yelled at her for like 30 or 40 minutes. That's ridiculous if that's
it's
true.
it's
It's a
crazy.
show. This isn't like
It's
yeah.
crazy. They're all very upset at all the time. It's just what the show
Yeah.
is.
If I was in it, I'll be like, yo, can I go to the bathroom? Like you're just gonna keep ripping her and
Yeah, excuse me. Yeah, please. Like, you can keep going? Just like I got you. Someone will take notes.
right.
Episode 7 kicks off with who was eliminated. We are letting somebody know. We are let known that there was an elimination, and it was Winnie. The numbers kind of played out there. I always was surprised. Like, I never really thought Winnie was definitively like the leader of that alliance. At least they didn't really show that as much. But I guess when you find out she was older than Tolu, she might have just been like the senior figure, I guess.
I mean, based off of like Tolu was like really upset and stuff.
Oh,
Yeah,
big time.
I was actually really that I think they did a good job with the editing there
Me too.
because the Julie Novo kind of, I mean, we knew she wasn't going to vote. She's like Switzerland. She's Switzerland when she needs to be a voter, and then when she doesn't need to vote, she's like Nazi Germany.
She is like I always call this out in shows. Like she does the Walter White, like the no half measures. Like you're gonna do something, you got to do it. You can't be wishy washy. And it's kind of frankly what Brian brings up when they go to talk about the pre vote again. Like, yo, when it comes down to it, girl, you're gonna have to vote. Like you need to vote because you
Yeah,
may be screwing us. Now it turns out her vote was gonna be one that wasn't gonna count, right? But like, yo, like stop it. Just you've already committed. You're on this side. We
it's
have to
just
finish the job out.
yeah, like you're on a game show. Like I don't understand. Like I can't hurt anybody's feelings, but you were willing to vote people off left and right week 1 and 2 or episodes 1 and 2.
Brian's offer, if he opens it, he has to do it. Like we've seen this theme going on. He gets $30,000, which is great. But 3 random people, he had to draw 3 cards. He didn't get to see who was on the cards, but 3 votes of people, if they choose to vote, will not count. Comes into play. It does come into play, which I love. This I really, really appreciate seeing because it came down to one person. It came down to one. It was perfect. You couldn't even
Yeah.
have drawn it up better when we get to that.
Yeah, I think this might have been the coolest twist. And if they do it with season 2, like I think they should introduce maybe like more often, like somebody, not 3, but like one, like you know what I mean, like just more suspense of like the voting and stuff like that. That'd be, I thought it was cool.
No, I did for sure. Lindsay, before we get to this, Lindsay calls the guys out for their sloppy gameplay. They're going to say, you tell, she said, things I've highlighted. You think they're not willing to make the hard calls. Says they're idiots for like ratting her out. She goes and starts talking to trees. Like, things start to get a little nuts for
Yeah.
Lindsay. We got to see the twist of the individual voting history. I liked how they did it.
Yep.
Pay up if you should tell your secrets, people get cash. Everyone does it. That means it was 30K, it would get doubled to 60K. It's
That's a
huge.
lot, man. That's a lot.
Huge.
Yeah.
It's a big incentive because they need people to let this out, especially for like further seasons. Maybe if there's more like secretism or less like
Mhm.
clear lines drawn, and
Yeah.
maybe it's more like traders esque, like as far as people not really knowing who's rolling with who. That's big. They all kind of didn't really care because they all, besides Julie having to admit that she like omitted votes and had voted earlier on and what her burn vote that ended up eliminating someone was, she was the only one who really had anything to lose by showing her votes.
Yeah, right. I mean, the other people, like, they kind of all had something that they did that, like, I think Brian was like, well, she didn't tell me that she voted for this. And I was like, why does she
Doesn't
need to tell
matter.
you why does she need to tell you anything? If you're not in the alliance, why does she need to tell you Jack?
Who cares what I did before I was in the alliance or
Yeah,
now?
I
It
agree. Yeah, I
doesn't
completely
matter.
agree.
Doesn't matter at all. Uh, I thought was funny was Tolu confronting Lindsay in front. So Lindsay got confronted like 15 times over the episode 6 and 7. Like she went through it, man. Honestly, it's like
Yeah,
she probably wishes she had gotten the case that Jay got to be able to leave.
yeah. Just these people just need to chill.
Voting ceremony. This was the question I wanted to ask you because I thought it was kind of goofy that people said this wasn't true. You can definitely prioritize self preservation and also want to help your team. You can't help a team that you're not on.
No, I completely agree. Totally was the one saying that.
Lindsay
Totally was
was
saying
saying that.
you can't preserve yourself, right?
Yeah, Lindsay was the one who said that, like, yeah, the self preservation is one and helping the team is two, but like you can do both. And Tolu's like, that makes no sense. You just said you're in for self preservation, and it's like, yeah, no, but I can't help the team if I'm not on the team. Like, what are you
Yeah,
talking about?
yeah, I was leaning more on the Lindsay side in this
Me
conversation.
too.
I just think like
The more I talk about it, I think Lindsay is like the Joker. Like she just got like brutalized by society this during this show, and she just finally
yeah, and
snapped.
she's like over there like swaying all the time. That's what she's
It's
like.
just she rocking. Because she was sitting in like a Lamaze chair. I'm like, dude, they're
Yeah,
burying her. Every
yeah,
comment they're making is like
yeah.
burying her.
I'm very interested to see how these people watch this back and like if it was a more popular show, I think it would get more like maybe some action on the internet. But
Tolu offered peace though. She offered peace at the table. She, at least publicly said, I will not vote if you don't. And Lindsay said, no way in hell. And she probably
did you
should have
believe that
wished.
though? Did you believe that?
I didn't believe it. I thought it was really smart though, because I think
No, yeah,
that
it's the right
right
move.
there, that is what I think won her the vote. Period. Offering peace at that table. Period.
And yeah,
The guy's dumb, but whatever.
yeah, I kind of feel like I mean let's get there, but like I kind of think that the decision that was made is, I mean, we don't totally can get on our nerves for sure, but like she's been true to what she's been doing
Direct.
the entire time, and Lindsay is not. So I think that's why the decision was made by Gasper to like get rid of Lindsay. I think that was a smart move, and the way he explained it, I think was spot on.
I agree. So Tolu, Lindsay, and Gasper. So Tolu and Lindsay being two that could vote, obviously going to cancel each other out. Gasper, if you were thinking going in before this ceremony or even before that game, easy vote, Tolu gone, just continue to knock off that alliance. However, and it's the analogy we'll make it probably be what we'll call the video. Honestly, it's the devil man. The devil is better than the devil you don't. And meaning that where Tolu stands. Tolu's not on your side, but Tolu is like not going to surprise and start some crazy alliance we don't know about. Lindsay could swing. There is no telling what Lindsay would do. Would Lindsay try to get the girls back together? Would Lindsay, if she got offered an offer where it's like, hey, you get 20,000, but you have to pick someone to eliminate, how do you know she's not going to pick you? Like,
Yeah.
there's just too many wild cards with how things went over the last episode and a half to keep her around. Doesn't screw their numbers, really. Doesn't
No,
really do anything.
no, they're fine.
The guys are straight. Like, the guys are in good. There's 5 people left now. There's just, I don't see
And
any of the guys going home.
Bill, I have a reason somebody's gonna mess something up. Like
Yeah, there's one
it's a
episode. What are they
recipe.
going to do?
Yeah, I'm wondering if they're gonna do something kind of similar to like traders, where it's like, oh, can we end the game?
Yeah, it's there. There's going to be something where it's like if everyone agrees to end it, it's over. But if someone wants to play, you have to start playing this like elimination game,
Yeah, something
basically.
like
And
that. And I don't know.
listen, it could be epic.
I feel like that's the how it's gonna go along those lines because like, what is there? 5 people left?
5.
I don't know.
Gaspar, Brian, the other dude that's what's his name?
Jake,
Yeah, Jake,
Julie, Tolu.
Julie, and Tolu.
Yeah, I was surprised to see that next week is the finale.
Yeah, 8 episodes total. So
Yeah.
I knew it was 3 weeks. I just thought it was gonna be more than one episode.
Yeah, so
So
that's why I was like, oh, we're gonna maybe lose 2 more people, but
you know what, Brian? Bachelor premieres next Thursday anyway, so saves us time.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
we need any hours we can spare. Yep. So I think overall week 2, I thought was an improvement even over week 1. And I really liked week 1. I'm really looking forward to seeing everyone's opinions this week because everyone had opinions last week.
oh yeah. The comment
It's
section is
kind of such a classic.
yeah, it's a minefield. I think it's the best way to
I dip my toe in it lightly. You don't see me commenting
I'm
people.
in
I
I'm
do
in there
see
with like I'm in there like sweeping.
give you very diplomatic answers for everybody. Make sure you like, subscribe here and on TikTok. We do 60-second reviews, clips, and reality TV news. We'll be back. Videos before this will be Traders UK. We'll have Love Island All Stars episode 3. Also, on Friday, we'll have the next installment of Traders USA. So make sure you are here for that. But for myself, Brian, everyone here at the Reality Guys, thank you so much for watching. Peace.